Hello. Hi, everybody. I'd like to say thank you for coming to our Flutteristas panel. I think we went that was our working title, and I think we went long enough that it just lasted. Anyway, when we were looking at some statistics, we saw a very disturbing one that even now, 92% of software developers are male. And while I love you all, that's a problem. It's a problem. And the source of the problem is a little hard to get to sometimes. We need to work on that. And so as part of that, I wanted to bring some of my friends up here on stage. And we're all members of a group called the Flutteristas, which is a group of women and non-binary Flutter enthusiasts. And we're trying to battle that problem a little bit ourselves. And so I need to take a look here at where we're starting at. Okay. It says, Danielle, brief introduction to Flutteristas and me. Hi, I'm Danielle Cox. And I'm from, if you can't tell by my accent, I'm from the United States, and I lead a team of Flutter developers. But the thing I'm most proud of here is, all the people we have up here. If you've talked to me for more than 5 minutes, you know two things about me. One is I'm learning Turkish, and the other is I'm very proud of the Flutteristas. And I try to, evangelize about us as much as I can. So let's get going. And I want to start off by introducing my friend Esra over here. And what has the Flutterista community meant to you?
So first, I'm going to start with just introducing. I'm Esra from Turkey, Istanbul, doing Flutter development, I think now 2.5 years. Going good so far. And how I started with the Flutteristas and what does it mean to me is actually it gave me an amazing place to grow while I'm changing my area. I was a Python developer before, then went for short-time community management things, and I tried to give it a start in the Flutter. But with the COVID-19 outbreak, we had a lot of limited in-person events, like it was over. So you just cannot connect, there is nothing to do networking, and nobody was knowing like what to do. How are we going to end it up? How are we going to manage the networkings? How are we going to manage the events and so on? In that time, I had a chance to catch up with Flutteristas, and we had a great place to grow. Then we got some internal trainings. We were having monthly meetings and so on. Then I just find people that I'm not feeling alone in that outbreak. Then just keep growing and building over it all together. And since then, we always have monthly gatherings, weekly meetings. So actually, it gave me a lot while I'm switching the career that we did everything together. Speaker trainings, content creation, feedback loops, how to apply to a job, how we're going to proceed in that front. So it was a community that always, let's say, next to me and supported me in that front. So it helped me a lot.
That's amazing, yeah. And Esra came to us at a time when we really needed her because she's a whiz at social media and whatnot. And so we were starting to have we were planning our first Flutteristas conference, and she came in and handled that. But another person that really helped us a lot that was Sarah. So Sarah, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how that went and things like that?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I am also from the US, but I've lived in Norway for over 10 years. And I've been all around different places in the Flutter community, and I would say that my biggest entry point was through the Flutteristas conference in 2021, where it gave the members just a fantastic opportunity to contribute in a safe way. And because a lot of people want to do something, but they don't know where to start, or they're a little intimidated. And so the conference was just a really good way for people to feel like there was a space for them and that they could contribute. And that definitely was the case for me, where I felt like this was a place I could speak for the first time. And also, I discovered that I really liked community work and organizing events, and got very into it, you could say. And I got a job as a community manager on the basis of the work I did at the conference. But I discovered that my sweet spot is somewhere between engineering and community management, so I'm more of like a DevRel type person. But that was an amazing career growth opportunity, and I am very grateful to the opportunities that the Flutteristas conference gave to me. But, sorry, back to how the conference has helped the members. We had speaker training, we got feedback from members of the community and GDEs, and it was a great way for all the members to participate in some way, either as a speaker or an organizer or just a supporter. That really, really helped. And speaking of supporters, I should mention that conference also gave conduit to the wider Flutter community, because I discovered that the larger Flutter community is amazing. It's the most welcoming larger tech community I've ever been in, and we got support from the Flutter community, like YouTube channel, and Simon and Scott and all of them. Jeed, yes, Jeed, you should give yourself a pat on the back for that. They really helped us with the broadcasting and the technical support, because we were competent at our own things, but we had no idea how to do YouTube, basically. And they were very good at it, and they helped us. And also just provided support backstage, which we found invaluable. And we remain very grateful.
So the Flutteristas conference was like a couple years ago now, so that was a one-time thing?
Since you ask, no. We are planning another conference for, yes, later in the year. So it will once again be online, because another great thing about our community is that we are literally all over the world. We are an online community because we have members scattered just everywhere. So we don't really meet physically except for events like this. And so it will be an online conference, so I hope everyone will come and enjoy the talks and events we're gonna have. And also, we're gonna get help again from the Flutter community. And I should also point out that they provide support for all kinds of initiatives. They were really there was the Flutter Apprentice Book Club. They were a great partner in that. They were also their partners in just many different initiatives, not just the Flutteristas. They help everybody. So thank you, Flutter community and allies.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite talks at our conference was on, I believe it was code generation, and somewhat a history of spaceflight, both from from both sides of the ocean. And anyway, would you tell us a little bit about that and what it meant? Introduce yourself, and then tell us what speaking at the Flutterista conference has led to.
Gladly. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna from Ukraine. I've been in software development for about 11 years now. And for the first 6 years, I was a pretty good software developer. I was focusing on creating cross-platform mobile applications with Xamarin when Flutter emerged. And clearly it got my attention. And, I'm sorry, I got distracted. But changing the technology on its own doesn't really matter. Like, you do cross-platform mobile development with Xamarin, with Flutter, doesn't matter. But what I didn't realize back then was that actually I was entering a new community. And by this, I mean the wider Flutter community, global one, very friendly and supportive. Then I also joined Flutteristas, thanks to an invitation from Emily, who has created this community. And here I found even more support. I found a platform for being confident in speaking in public, expressing my opinions, and have a constructive feedback on it. And also I have to mention the great support I get at home from my husband. So thanks to all these various community supports, and thanks to the Flutteristas conference that gave me a platform to speak, I actually did a talk. Was preparing for 3 months. And since then, I got attention to actually apply for the GD program. So I became a GD in Dart and Flutter. And I would say Flutteristas community was a major contributing factor to it. So, if you're considering whether you should join, do it. It was very helpful.
Absolutely. And I want to be clear here. In the Ukraine, who was the first Flutter GDE?
Yes.
Yes. You are the success story I brag about the most. You are amazing. And once again, I'm looking at my notes. I've got stuff going on. I was supposed to call him Pooja first, so. But anyway, I think it'll fit well now in the conversation because Pooja was one of our first Flutteristas way back in the day. We're not sure which one of us joined before the other one, but it was around the same time. But you also, I know you've had a different journey also. You were also involved in Women Tech Makers, which are there's other organizations besides us that are involved. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's meant to you?
Thank you, Danielle. I mean, I do have a different story than all of you because I was probably in the community when Flutteristas was not even born. So I was back in like 2018 time, I was not even born, and I became a GD 2019, and I think sometime later Flutteristas were born. But my journey probably started 8 years ago when I was in college, and I used to love going to hackathons. But if you remember hackathons back in that day, it used to be a boys' club. Yes. So there was 95 or 90% of just men in hackathons. And me being a college first year and a woman, you can understand the conversation I would have with my parents that I am going to overstay in a community hall with 90% men. Can you give me permission to go? That was not a very good discussion for sure. My parents were still fine, but in a way, I felt like, you see that boys do have a good attitude or good confidence to talk about their skills, which women kind of sometimes lack in the beginning. And I was there where I would be like, I don't know how to tell about what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm how to even speak in that group of confident men. And that's when I realized that I am in need of a community. I'm in need of a community of familiar faces, familiar problems. And even before Women Tech Makers, I actually created my own women community in college, which would basically be for the women who are also wanting familiar faces, and they are also wanting to learn, but in a comfortable environment. And I had a selfish reason as well that once they are also very confident about their skills, I will drag them to these hackathons, and so we can all go together and also change the ratio. So that was in the beginning, but also Women Take Makers Bhubaneswar in India. That was one of my pioneer moments as well, because I realized how these communities are so important in making us confident and making us that, yes, you can do this. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the I Am Remarkable workshops, but they have been very, very important for me to be shameless about talking about my achievements. It made me say that if I did it, I'm gonna talk about it. And I don't care if you feel that I'm talking too much about it, I am gonna talk about it. So that workshop helped me talk, and probably that's the reason why I'm talking so much right now. Because I'm so confident at this point. But it took 8 years to get to this stage. And I'm sure these communities have helped me come to this point.
And I want to point out, I Am Remarkable was created kind of to address issues that women have, but it's open to anybody. So I would recommend anybody takes that workshop. It's an amazing workshop. And it really does help you look at how you talk about your achievements and how you advocate for yourself, because it's important for all of us. So yeah, and I also want to tell you all that if you ever think you might have imposter syndrome, try hosting a panel with these great women. I'm just saying. All right, so Daria, you're one of our newer, I think, Flutteristas. Can you tell us a little bit about how your journey is and what it's meant to you?
Yes, hey, my name is Daria, and I'm a tech lead in a Latvian agency called Chili. And I've been in mobile development for almost 8 years, but I've been this observer from the side of the community. I haven't really participated, and Recently, like in 2021, I've seen this program called Women Developer Academy, also hosted by Women Tech Makers, another program for women in tech. And this is where this is a safe place for women to practice public speaking, technical writing, and so on. And also, this is a place where I met Anna, who has become my mentor and helped me like really a lot in participating in community and believing in myself in the first place. And Anna introduced me to Flutteristas. And since then, since I've become a Flutterista, this is like a safe space where I feel like I belong because I see so many amazing women who also love tech, love Flutter, and I can relate to them. Like, we're similar, right? And it's really important because for me, I need a role model. I want a role model, someone to whom I can look up to whom I can relate. And this is what Flutteristas is to me, and something I hope to be to other women in future too.
Yeah, it's an amazing group, and I think the networking aspect of it is very important. I mean, I only got to meet Anna because she came and got me at the airport here, but I'd met everybody else here beforehand, and not just at Google events. I'd met everybody like, personally making an effort and having it happen. So that's been amazing. All right, well, that was our first round of questions, and I think we went longer than I planned on, so hopefully we can do a little better on the second round. But that's who we are and what the Flutteristas have meant to us. Now we'd like to talk a little bit about what we're doing to help expand things, the help that we're getting from the community, and maybe some areas that we could use more help and do stuff. So I can only see the first few rows, but even just looking there, I see Majid in the front row. I see Eric over there. Eric's always been a great friend of the Flutteristas. Came in and let me interview him during our conference. And Majid was one of the producers, which is it's always a freaky thing to have earphones on, listening to two conversations. But they would be telling us what to do so we could make it happen. So that was really wonderful. But anyway, I would like to carry on from there. I've scrolled away from where I am, so I apologize for that. But like I said earlier, one of my proudest things for the Flutteristas has been the story of Anna. And I would love for her to tell us a little bit about how becoming a GD and what she's doing since then, and see what she can tell us about what she's doing.
Yeah, but staying, of course, in the context of community contributions, as a GD, being invited to community programs like Women Developer Academy and Road to GD, that's where I met Daria and other talented women. And basically what I'm trying to do is to be what some of Flutteristas were to me, is to be a role model I could look up to back then. They can probably get inspired by my example. And the thing I notice is I don't really need to do much unless building their confidence to actually show their talents, be courageous to get on stage or publish something, be vocal in the community. So being a role model, meeting role models in the female communities is super important. I cannot stress it enough.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and I was talking with, I think it was Craig. I was talking with yesterday, and he thinks that whenever we're looking back on this years from now, the number of people that are a GD because of Anna, or people that Anna helped become GDs, is going to be the most of anybody ever. So we're all very proud of you and thankful for everything you do. Very much so. Yes. But speaking of you mentoring people, I think we have one of your mentees here. And so, Daria, why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and also how you've been passing it along?
Yes, as I said, I met Anna at several programs by Women Tech Makers and Google. And I also want to emphasize that not just a mentor, Anna has become my friend. And I think it's really important in this technical community to also have people that you can trust, to have fun with. And it also inspired me to give back. And I'm currently actively participating in communities, speaking, writing, courses, and so on. But also, whenever I have the opportunity to help women in tech, like provide workshops, provide mentoring, I do that for Flutter Dev Camp, for Riga Tech Girls, and other programs. And also, I'm an event organizer, and one of my goals for the next season is to give more opportunities to more women to show themselves, because technically, I know that they're there, I know that they're good, but they're shy, and you have to just give them the hand, give them this opportunity, and that's what I want to do.
I agree. That's one of the things I think we can help do, and that's what we try to do with the Flutteristas conference, is help that confidence factor with people, because it's important. And we're good, but we just don't always know it, and so we have to do that. All right, so we've been talking about like some of our real success stories of what we have done, but we're getting ready to organize, like Sarah said, our next Flutteristas conference, and that is that's a tall order, and we're going to need help. And I was going to have Esra talk a little bit about that.
So actually, I can mention about how the organization of Flutteristas conference going, and maybe give us a sneak peek about what we did before. Is actually Flutteristas conference, that something we are organizing to include everyone who wants to step up, give their public speaking trainings, experiences, and so on. And for this one, you don't need to be like an expert in that area first. We are looking forward to be really inclusive in that front end. You just want to give it a try. You want to have a speaking experience and so on. We're going to start from zero. We're going to start from zero to stage. And we're going to check your expertise. Let's say not expertise, but what you really like, what you are really good at. And then we're going to go for, okay, which content you can create. Then we will have public speaking trainings, we will have how you can create the content, we will have dry runs, we will even maybe provide you some slide templates to go through, we will have feedback talks, maybe you can even get mentorships. Also, really thanks the Googlers and GDEs in that front, because they are actually helping us a lot to arrange these trainings and so on. So you will be ready to give your talk. And if you are not feeling really, let's say, confident, comfortable enough, or you don't have the technical stuff yet, maybe you don't have a stable internet connection to do it, it's online, then we're going to record it together. Then you can also join for Q&A session. And if you can, it's also fine. We will have another space for you to join. So you can easily give it a try. You can see whether you like it or not, and you can still deliver high quality content. It doesn't need to be advanced. It can be a beginner level, mid-level, advanced level, because we are covering everyone, but it just needs to be a good one, And that's what we are doing here with the feedbacks and improving each other. Or you can just be a member and enjoy what's going on around, and you can just take the opportunities. So it's actually what we are trying to do all together.
Absolutely. And one other thing that we'll do, if you need, is we could maybe find you a co-presenter. If you're not confident just doing it by yourself, we could do that. And once again, it was kind of hidden in what Esra said, I think, a little bit. But one of the things I want to talk about, one of the points of this panel is we need allies. There's not enough of us. We don't have all the right expertise. We don't know everything. And so that's where having maybe an expert in a topic come in and help us with something. Anna's husband came and talked to us about developing a talk. We've had lots of people do stuff like that, and the production that's helped with us, the community. So all of those things are very important with the allies helping us out. And speaking of allies, Pooja, I keep talking to the people that don't have microphones, so that's really smart of me. How have allies affected your journey?
Yes, so I think they've been very important for my workplace career, in a way, at least. I think the reason why I'm doing a lot of things is probably because I had a lot of male allies, talking of which, like, the first thing when I was asked or referred to the GD program, I was like, nah, this is not for me. I'm not an expert. I can't be an expert. Right. So I can't be an expert. Are you kidding me? I was still in college as well, and I was like, no, this is something that I cannot be. So I was thinking, and there was this person, Dhrumil from Flutter Ahmedabad in India, and he was like, you're good for it, just do it, and you know that you're good, and just try it. What if you just don't become a GD? So just try it at least, right? And after 4 months of thinking, I did apply, and then I became a GD in 2019. So I owe it to him that he gave me the confidence to apply. So Dhrumil in India. So, but then also in my workplace, I think I mean, I'll tell you basically, when I joined my company, the first company, I was asked to actually migrate from native to Flutter, and I was the only person who had the job to do the migration. And the Android developers did not really like me. You can understand why. And of course, I was also younger than them. I was probably a woman, and I was trying to do something that they did not like. So, but however, my manager made sure that I have a voice. My manager made sure that, let her speak. That kind of a, push. He realized that I have a lot of imposter syndrome, and I'm scared to talk in front of the confident people. And of course, they were much older than me. They had much more skills, but like he let me speak. He made sure that I have the same salary as anyone in the same role, even though I'm much younger than them. And I think that push is what we really need. And I don't want to like ask for it or fight for it. I don't want to fight for the same salary. If you are a man in authority, I think you should realize that people in your team who are women might be having imposter syndrome, and they might be needing that push, and they might not even ask for it because they're still scared to like say, So you should realize it and actually just do it for them, because you have a much like stronger voice, and you probably also are more in number, because I was always the only woman in the team. So definitely they have made sure that I am at this stage where I could speak and I have the same opportunities. So thank you to all the male allies for making sure you did that for us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And because it's a lot of times we're asking you to do what's right, maybe not even what's easy for you. So those of you that are here today that are allies, thank you so much, very much so. All right, and not everything that we face as women is as easily solved. It's not as obvious and things like that. So Sarah's going to talk a little bit about what she's going through, because I think she's the only mom on the panel, and so that presents its own challenges. And I know from the rehearsals we've done that we don't have solutions yet, but tell us what you think and where we think we might be able to go.
Yeah, so I have 3 small children, and
Real quick, I'm sorry. I just want to say this is the last question that we've got planned. So for question and answer, we've got a microphone right here. If people want to, they can line up for after this.
yes, we'd love to have audience participation, but first I'd really like to rant a little bit about being a mother in a industry that is very demanding. It takes so much time. I have the most incredible supportive partner, and he does as much work as I do, and even so, I don't think we talk about it enough, because there's so much emphasis on empowerment and saying, yes, you can do everything, you can do anything. But the reality, I'm here to tell you, is that there's only 24 hours in a day. And if you have small children, you can only work a certain amount. You can work when you work, but then when you go home, you can't work. And I think most of us here know that in order to be successful in your role, you have to go home and work in the evenings. We don't talk about this enough, but I'm here to tell you, I see you, people working from 8 to 11 p.m. and yeah, it's not possible when you have kids. It's just not. So I've burnt out twice, and it's why I tried community management, because I was like, that's got to be easier. Not, it's not easier. I'm here to tell you it's just as hard. But yeah, it's really hard to be successful in this career when you have kids, or if you have a sick parent you're taking care of, or anything like that. It's hard. And Flutteristas have been helpful in the sense that I have like emotional support and people I can privately rant to, but I mean, they can't take care of my kids for me. So it's not an issue that's been solved. And so I guess I want to use this platform right now to, I'm not asking for like special treatment for mothers, but I think, and full-time roles, but I think it would be really helpful if more employers would be open to part-time roles, because shameless plug, I've been looking for a job for 6 months and I've had to be picky because I know that I can't go back to the kind of role where I'm on paper for 8 hours a day, but I'm working 11 or whatever. And so I've been looking for part-time, because if you work 50%, usually you just work 50%, right? And nobody wants to hire for 50%. And so what am I gonna do? I think I'm just gonna be on a career break for a few years until I know that I have time again. So my entreaty to the allies in the room and on YouTube later is have the flexibility to hire people part-time, and know that moms, we're very efficient because our time is precious. And that's all I wanted to say.
And I want to point out, I mean, it's obvious to anybody that's in the situation, but maybe there's people here that don't realize that. But imposter syndrome, the time management of having to be a caretaker, things like that are not at all unique to women. But they seem to be more, they affect us, seem to affect us more. There definitely are men out there that are in that same kind of position. And so this is not just, you know, things that we deal with. I think we're the ones that are the experts at dealing with it, maybe, or trying to, you know, or understanding it, because we're seeing it a lot more. And so that's the end of what we had planned. And so I would love if anybody has any questions out there. Sure, yeah. Yeah, there's a microphone here. Otherwise, if I need to, I'll run out with a microphone.
Right, can you hear me? Cool. Thank you all for speaking. I love to hear and see you all as role models. And it seems like Flutteristas does a lot for women that are, and non-binary people that like come to you. But are there any initiatives for like youth, so that like right now when I try and I want to hire more women into my company, but we just don't get that many more like applicants. Like, how do we change that in the next generation? Like, what are Flutteristas doing to help with that?
I actually can speak a little bit to that, just because in our tech team at my company, there's, I don't know, 7, 9 of us maybe. 2 of us are women. One of them works for me. That's not an accident. She's a Flutterista also. And so Rona, if you're watching this from later, thanks for covering back at work. And yeah, but so I think that being part of the change is there. And one of the things I say a lot of times is that there's nobody in my company that would give a second thought to hiring a woman versus a man. I mean, it's a non-issue. The problem is the fact we're a startup. And so we're dealing with people we know. And so increasing that networking, doing things like getting people up and speaking in front of people, doing things like, you know, making sure that there's women at whatever meetups you have, making sure that we feel welcome and that we're coming, that makes it to where, well, you know us. And so then when you are looking for hiring people, you can hire us, because I don't think any of us up here are saying hire someone that's not as qualified. We're saying we're qualified, you know, hire us. Anybody else want to throw in? Yeah.
I just wanted to add, this is a problem on both ends kind of a thing. And I think workplaces also have to change the way they hire. And as Sarah mentioned, if there were part-time jobs, it would have been so easier for moms to actually apply. I mean, they probably just not apply to a startup because they know that it's 15 hours of work. So that's it, that is a filter right there. So maybe if you are really looking for the diversity of women as well in different different roles in their life, and if either young or moms or other non-binary people, I think the companies need to change the way they're hiring. They need to mention how flexible their timings, or are they hiring for a part-time roles or not to support moms. Do you have any harassment laws in the company? Because startups don't have that usually, right? In the beginning, they don't care about that at all, but women do. Do you have salary transparency in a way? Because do I have to fight for my salary in a way. So I think these things, when women probably is looking at it, the application, they might be doing all that checks and they're like, no, this company probably is going to be a toxic company for me because I might not just be able to sustain here, so that's it. I will not just apply. And that's why the reason you do not get a lot of applicants is because they have done their filtering, because they are not choosing you, not your company, but they are not choosing that company that did not do that work to include us. So it's not that we are not qualified or anything, but we just feel that your company is not qualified enough to actually include the women because you didn't do the work.
And if you're big enough, if you can offer like daycare, things like that, that also helps.
Hi, I'm making courses for children starting from 8 to 10. And it was 2 courses. One was a video course. It was half-half, women and boys. And the second course, it was about programming, robotic courses, and it was only 10%. And we're talking about children at the age of 8. And this was kind of frustrating. It seems like that even in this age, it is not that interesting to code. What is your opinion on this? What's your hypothesis? Yeah, would be awesome to hear your opinion. Thanks.
Danielle, I was having trouble processing what he said. Can we just repeat the question?
We have Renuka here. She's one of our flutteristas. There's only so many chairs on the panel. So.
So I really would like to answer for you. Basically, I am also flutterista and I came from the London, and I have seen that in the schools, most of the girls, they are not interested into the STEM. They don't want to go to the computer side, and that is the problem. Schools also not promoted that much to the girls that you should do the career in the computer science, or you can build some application with that and become a flutterista and become a GDG and GDE. I go to the schools and I give the career development opportunities for the girls that you should come and you should learn the Flutter app development with us, and it's getting a really good response now. So I think someone should start the initiative from the school itself so that they will get to know what is the good opportunity for them to ahead, basically. Thanks.
I'll jump in one little bit on that because I feel strongly that part of the problem is role models. And so I grew up in the United States in the 70s and 80s, and even though nobody ever said it out loud, they taught us that if you like science and math, you may be good at it, but if you're too good at it, boys aren't going to like you, right? And so we kind of self-select ourselves out of things like that. And I think that role models are so important, and having people that you can point to and say, yes, you can do this. My favorite story on that is that when I was growing up, if I'd asked any of my friends, could you be a doctor? They would all say, of course. Why couldn't I be a doctor? But if I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? If I said it that way, they'd probably say a nurse, because that's what they saw on TV. That's what they saw with people around. So part of it is making that change. So I'm glad we had a 50-50 coming into it, but we need to find a way to, maybe by having female teachers, maybe by emphasizing, I don't know if you've noticed here, but all of the rooms here are named after female pioneers. I mean, it's an amazing thing. I was talking with Greg and mentioning some of the names, and he says, well, did you look at the names of the rooms? And I looked up and I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah. So anyway, that was kind of amazing there. Else want to add it? Okay. You can fight over it.
Can we go first? Okay. So maybe it's a specific question, but I'll ask and you can decide whether to answer or not. So we have a Flutter meetup in my city. And the first time I went, there was not a 50-50 ratio, but it was a more diverse crowd. And over the past 4, the crowd of female and non-binary people was diminishing. So besides the obvious, like maybe getting female speakers, what are ways you would suggest to make it more attractive for people to come, for more girls or women to join the meetup?
I have a suggestion. And I know that some meetup organizers, I used to work with the Flutter meetup group, they would reserve some spaces. If you have a limited attendance, you would say 10 of these slots are for male and underrepresented, non-binary, whatever group it is that you want to help. You say, it's for you, and I hope you'll come. Just be explicit about it and make the space. And I say 10 because most meetups aren't greater than 30 or 40, but like some sizable percentage, I would suggest. And then of course, like you said, trying to get female speakers, and also emphasizing that you don't want a speaker because they're female, you just want more of them to apply, right? Sorry, we're over time and Danielle's giving me.
Can I just
come on,
quickly add? What I would suggest is also to find local technical women organizations in your city, reach out to them specifically, advertise to them. So like, hey, we're having a meetup, please join. And so that more women actually notice that you're having a meetup.
That's awesome. And if you're all willing, I'm going to take one more question I saw over here. But the one thing I might say to that is Sarah used a great word there, underrepresented. And women are highly underrepresented, but we're not the only underrepresented groups in here. So a lot of what we're saying, we're trying to solve the problem that affects us, but there are other people that also you should be paying attention to that way. And I think this will be the last question.
Hi. First, I'm happy and excited to see so many females and non-binaries at this conference. But yeah, I will correct myself from so many to many because still it's not enough. We can see that from this conference alone, and I think even in this room. So my question is, what do you suggest to companies, to the big companies that invest in Flutter, like Google, to how to motivate female and non-binary to take the first step into programming or becoming a Flutter developer, especially in more countries where, more conservative countries where becoming a programmer, female programmer is still a taboo subject. And sadly, we still have that in 2023. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
All right, I'll try to repeat it. But basically, it's 2023. It should be better, but there's still not enough female programmers. There's not enough female Flutter engineers to fill the needs and stuff like that. And I believe you're asking for suggestions on how we could improve that and get more people to start and things like that. Yeah, he's specifically talking about big companies here. The people that, startups are going to hire the people that they know and bring in. But yeah, but the larger places, the ones that have resources and that could dedicate maybe a little more time, what would we suggest for that?
I guess something quite obvious, but if we see there is a specific problem, a specific part of the group, even just laying down the company rules that explicitly say that we try to have an equal salary for all groups of employees. Here's our policy for this and that and that. Being explicit about female, non-binary, and other underrepresented groups, even though it might feel weird, like why? Well, because there is a problem, and at least this small thing can actually make every reader of these rules think a bit about this problem and being more careful about it.
And we've done stuff with the Flutteristas, like David Dreamer came and talked to us at one point about hiring, and I really brought him in to talk to us about what makes a good candidate. How can we be better candidates, stuff like that. And he ended up with, at one point he says, okay, now you got to come to me. We want to hire females. We want to hire underrepresented groups. We're not finding them. What can we do better? And so I think having that kind of an attitude is good. So, for example, if you're hiring, reach out to Women Tech Makers, reach out to the Flutteristas, reach out to us and try to do it. Like, for example, there's a lot higher percentage, I think, of female speakers at this conference than we are in the general population. And I think we all deserve to be here. But the way that they did on this, one of the things they did with this was, and Majid with Flutter Vikings, same kind of thing, is it's not like they're saying, I'm going to pick females that don't deserve it. What they're doing is they're trying to make sure that we do it. So like for FlutterCon here, if any one of you men out here didn't apply, they didn't care. They came to us specifically and said, we need you to put in talks. And after a month or so, we hadn't put in enough talks. They came back to us and said, we need you to put in talks. We don't have enough yet. And so they might have used this maybe as a tiebreaker at some point, but the bottom line is that kind of purposefulness with it. The support we get from Google is, once again, it's not like anything really that different than other groups get, but they care a lot about us, and so they make sure that we have speakers for our monthly meetings. They make sure of things like that when we do it, and it's very appreciated. By the way, I see Nilay. I'm looking at Nilay right now, but it's very appreciated. All the help. Like I said, when Eric was there, he made a point of also helping. He came talk to us and was always available, and the DevRel people, stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff we can do, is try to just be more welcoming, try to do it, like I said, role models if we can, and hope we can solve the problem. And the problem may need to be a little more generational. We probably don't have, I know we don't have enough women Flutter engineers to fill half the roles. So we need to work at getting better. I'd ask Greg if he had the numbers for the female participation in this conference, so we can compare it against what the averages were. And I believe he said that we didn't collect it this year, so we don't have it. But then he mentioned that the one year that the best year he had on record, 18% of female participation, and he's like, and that's not enough. And it's like, okay, I totally hear you. It's not enough. But on the other hand, if it's 8% out in the world and you got 18% to come here, that's amazing. So let's celebrate these small successes and work on trying to make things better. So don't make your team 50% female overnight, but hire, find a way to hire, and start bringing them in. How many on the panel have ever worked on a team in tech that was more female than male? Okay. How many people worked on a small team that had more than one other female? Okay, that's good. But I'm just saying, it's, we need a lot of work on that. And it happens with our allies. It happens with our people out there. Women are famously horrible bosses, to other women. And we need to get better at that ourselves, and so we are so far over. I've got a sign up here that says, please end your panel. So, that's what it says. So I want to say thank you for everybody here, for Sarah, for Pooja, for Esra, for Anna, and for Daria. Thank you all for coming out here.
And for Danielle.
Thank you, Daria.